Hey campers, George here, back in the workshop. Got me a little project to do that on one of my favorite tools. This guy from Opinel, the folding saw. Had some issues with it, so I need to fix it. Let's check it out. Like I said, I'm having issues with my Opinel No12 folding knife saw. That's what they call it. I just called it my pocket saw. And it's this guy here. And it's a great saw. It really cuts well. It's comfortable to cut with. Small enough to carry in your pocket. Pull it out and use it when you need it. Now when I go trudging and things like that, I normally have this in one pocket and I have a knife in the other or on a sheath. Well, what happened was when I went up to the boundary waters with the usual suspects, these guys, about a month ago, took this with, and one morning we got up and we were going to make breakfast, and I needed to process some wood to make a fire to cook breakfast on. And I pulled this guy out. We had been wet. It had been raining and things like that. It was really humid. And I pulled this guy out. It's your normal Opinel. The way it closes, it uses that Viro lock. And it's just, that 45 degrees. Can you hear it? Hear that? Got a little dirty and a little muddy and some sand in it and things like that. So I struggled to turn that, and then I went to go and open it and I couldn't pull it out. The wood had expanded, which you can expect when it gets wet, and I couldn't get it out. And the main reason was I couldn't get a good grip on it, and my hand was doing that. And you can see here they have a bulge in there and you can get your hand in there. Now it's dried up a bit. I actually put some vegetable oil in there and on the blade here, and I can open it. But I don't want that to happen again. So I thought there's two ways to fix it, or use both. And that is put a nail neck in it, which I'm not sure I can do with this, or change and modify the handle so that I have more to grab when I pull it out. Leverage and things like that, you want it a little bit further down here, but I don't want to go too far down because I'd have to go really deep to give myself more. So I'm going to have to be around here, which is right around the Opinel name. I don't want to destroy that. And I was thinking while I'm doing that, maybe I'll make some changes to it to make this Opinel folding saw my own. Look at that, it's a little different. So that's what I plan on doing. So the first thing I've got to do is figure out what I'm going to do with the handle here so I can have more grip here. And then I might just change some things on the handle, and I think I want to darken it. It's a great handle. It works great. It works well. I don't really want to change that too much. But let's see what we can do. And when I hold the saw and I'm cutting, this is how I hold it. It is a pull saw, so you don't want to modify the handle too much. They make it wider here so that you've got something to pull in. I don't want to change this too much. I might change the back to look a little different and like I said, darken the handle. My main concern is the opening and closing. I have to do something here. I'm thinking, you see where the sign is? I want to just start above the sign and make this a little deeper. Make it gradual so it's just a little thinner but not too thin. I also don't want, you've got to be careful you're not going to do anything to affect the way the blade sits. I don't see a problem there. In fact, they give you a bit of room. You can see the blade ends here and you've got all this excess space. It's going to be on the fly, but certainly this here is the important part. I'll see how that works. If it helps, that's okay. Might have to figure a way to put a nail neck to pull it out, and I really don't know how I'm going to do that. I got to take this apart and clean it out because there's a bunch of sand in there. You heard it. I don't know if you can hear that. I think it is sandpapering this so that I can darken it. This beach is very nice, but it's kind of boring. I want something darker. So that's what we're going to do right now. You can see how I've reduced that there. The other thing I don't really like that sharp. I mean, it's very Opinel, that distinctive back on all their knives and the saw and whatnot. Wanted to get rid of it just to make it a little bit more personalized. So I think that's deep enough there. I can grip a lot more, and it feels better when I can grip. I can feel a lot more on it. So now I have this flat edge here. Going to round this off slightly, make it round, come around so that it's kind of round all the way. Then I'm going to sand away this whatever covering they put on here. And then I'm going to stain it. The other thing I want to do is, if you look at the sword, they have this distinct edge here. And I'm thinking maybe just rounding it off a little bit. I've got to take this off anyway and clean underneath there, so I might just round it off a little bit with some sandpaper. An edge there. So I just use the screwdriver to get this off, and you can see it's just a giant Viro lock, the same thing that they use on their knives. And here you can see how crusty it is inside here. So I'm just going to clean that up a little bit, and like I said, round this off some. I don't like the way the pin is in there. Might just give that a little tap to sandpaper, and I'm just going to a light rub to get all that crustiness off. Clean that up. So I have a little heavier grit sandpaper. So now I'm going to round this off. Yeah, it's a hot and humid day. Look at me, I'm sweating like crazy. I need to learn to do this in the mornings. It's kind of in the evening. It's like 5 in the evening and the sun is shining directly into the workshop. You'd think I'd learn, right? Here we have it here. And I've cleaned all the covering off, I think. So now I'm going to darken it. Now I try to preserve the Opinel label, and I left that there. So I'm hoping when I put the dark stain on, it's not going to go in there, and it'll keep it light around the Opinel badge. So here you can see it here. Now when it's closed, you can see I have a lot more to grab and open it, kind of like that. And then I just rounded this off a little bit more so it didn't have that sharp Opinel shape to it. It's still a little bit there, but it's not as much and as obvious as it was. You don't have that flat edge all on the side. I'm just going to use the dark stain, and that's it. If it don't work, it don't work. Didn't bring my pocket knife with me, so I'm using the shop knife. I'm in the shop. Remember this guy? I'm going to use dark walnut. I have no idea what it's going to look like. That is one thing I want to do. So we have the dark walnut on. I'll leave that to dry, and hopefully I took enough of the coating off. Almost looks like I didn't take enough coating off, but we'll soon know. So that's where we are now. I'm just going to leave it now to sit. I'll check it out and maybe give it a fine sanding just to clean it up, and I'll see how it looks. May need another coat. Okay, it's been a couple of hours. I realized that I put a lot on. Came back and wiped some off, and now I think it's ready. I've put it back together again, and you can see it here. See how the handle, where I cut away all the wood, it's soaked in way deeper, and that's what I thought. I think here there was still coating left, very small, but it went through and it's colored it. And of course, when I wiped it, I took off that tape I had over there and just wiped over here, and you can see it's blended it pretty well. I like the color. Look at the back here where I cleaned up. It really sank in. That's how dark it is. I think that would have been a little bit too dark for me. I like the way it's landed up. It's really worked out nicely. Look at that. So I have me a own Opinel, and of course when I close the blade down, lock it back in, I have a lot more to grab here. You know, like I said, I did put some vegetable oil inside on the pivot, and I think that may have helped. But it's certainly easier to grab, much easier to grab now. And the other cool thing is, you see that? You can see the Opinel. I like the way it came out. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put linseed oil in and see if it brings it out any more. So I've put linseed oil on here, and I'm hoping it's not going to take the sticker off. Seems to be okay. So here it is in natural, fairly natural light. It's late in the evening, but you can see it there. Kind of like it. It's not too dark. My new Opinel number 12 folding knife saw with a better grip and a different color handle. I like the way it worked out. You know, I keep using that dark stuff and I'll wipe it off, and it just seems to darken it enough where I like the color. It's a little different. You can see it's a lot easier, more grip, and the handle's a little thinner. I'll show you. I'll put some pictures up here so you can see the difference. Very little difference. I didn't do a lot. It was good the way it was. I just wanted to make it mine. Opinel. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back again. By the way, my leather stuff came in, so I'm going to be working on that. I've been doing some research on it. A little bit more complicated than I thought. You're going to have to really be careful with your pattern. Also, I think the leather I bought, although good quality leather, is a little thin. But we'll see how it works. I have two to make for Kephart and the Green River. One will have a dangler and the one won't. That's coming up. Just saying. Thanks for watching. And you all be safe out there. See you again soon.